حدا بيسألنا شو الأخبار. تابعونا كل نهار أربعاء الساعة 3 لنتناقش ونتحاور ونسلط الضوء على أهم المواضيع اللي بتخصنا كلنا بتجرد وموضوعية. برنامج شو الأخبار مع حسين هاشم كل نهار أربعاء الساعة 3 على راديو سينا 102.3 FM. تابعونا لتعرفوا شو الأخبار. متابعينا ومستمعينا ومشاهدينا من 102.3 FM واللي عم يحضرونا على صفحتنا على الفيسبوك واتساب ميديا نتورك، تحياتنا لكم بحلقة ولقاء متجدد كل نهار أربعة من 3 للأربعة ببرنامج واتساب شو الأخبار. معي أنا حسين هاشم. كل جمعة بنطرح عليكم مواضيع مختلفة بتفيدكم وبتفيد الجالية كأنه معلومات ولا شغلات مفيدة. هيدا اليوم رح نتحدث عن موضوع كتير مهم، هو موضوع الورثة والإرث وارتباطه بالدين. يعني مش فيش دين محدد، بس نحن أكتر بنتحدث عن الدين الإسلامي شوي اليوم حميد. بعتقد فاليوم بنتحدث عن العلاقة ما بين الإرث والوصية بأمريكا، وهل يا ترى إنه الدين له علاقة بهذا الموضوع؟ لأنه نحن بنعرف كتير إنه نحن بالدين الإسلامي خصوصا عندنا الوصية وعندنا التركي والإرث. فكيف القانون بأمريكا كيف يعني القانون بنظرة القانون بأمريكا للوصية الإسلامية أو للإرث الإسلامي؟ مش هيك حميد؟ ضيفنا لليوم رح يكون المحامي حميد دكروب من دكروب جروب، موجودين هون بديربون على 1 بارك لين بوليفارد. رقم التليفون عندهم بالمكتب المحاماة تبعهم هو 313-401-4488. رقم التليفونات لحتى تتواصلوا معنا على الحلقة اليوم بالاستديو مباشرة لحتى تسألوا سؤالاتكم متعلقة بالأحكام الوراثة والإرث والوصايا من ديترويت على 313-769-6666 313-769-6666 من وينزر كندا على 519-256-1023. قبل ما نبلش حلقتنا مع حميد بحب اتشكر السبونسرز تبع واتساب ميديا نتورك اللي هن كريستال ساندز بيتش ريزورت، one of the most beautiful resorts I've seen صراحة، مش بعيد كتير عنا من هون. محامي حميد دكروب، Estate Planning and Probate Attorney، Applied Modern House دكتور مو هزيمة، Big Race Quick Lube on Oakman and Ford Road بديربون، وأفر فريش ماركت اللي عندهم هن سيل كتير حلو لرمضان. هلأ بنص الحلقة رح نخبركم شو هو السيل تبعهم. بحب أذكركم إنه في كتير برامج بتطلع حصرياً على واتساب ميديا نتورك، غير الراديو اللي نطلع نحن عليه. إذا بتروحوا على فيسبوك أو على الويب سايت تبعنا وبتكتبوا واتساب ميديا نتورك بتقدروا تشوفوا البرامج كلها اللي عنا إياها نحن. وإن شاء الله كمان رمضان ينعاد علينا وعليكم بالصحة والسلامة. يعني ابتداء نهار الاثنين الجاي من الاثنين للسبت رح يكون عندنا برامج على واتساب ميديا نتورك على الصفحة على الفيسبوك، رح يطلعوا أول شيء وبرجع بيطلعوا على الويب سايت وعلى غير شغلات. فكل نهار رح يكون في برنامج إن شاء الله نتحدث عنهم أكتر بنص الحلقة وبآخرها. بس بنبلش بموضوعنا مع المحامي حميد دكروب. المحامي أهلا وسهلا فيك.
أهلا فيكم. Thank you for having me.
لك محامي مش محاميد. أهلا وسهلا فيك بحلقتنا.
Thank you. أهلا فيك حسين.
شوي وجعت راس بس.
Hopefully we don't وجع لك الراس أكتر.
أنت بالعكس واحد بس يطلع معك بينبسط.
لا thank you.
نحن كمان بنرجع نذكرهم بأرقام التليفونات هون باستديو حميد. حاب شو هن أرقام التليفونات؟ حافظهم شيء حميد هون؟
باستوديو؟ I defer to you.
صار لك بتجي سري لهون.
والله there are too many numbers that I have to deal with.
Detroit 313-769-6666 313-769-6666 ومن وينزر كندا 519-256-1023. وبحب أذكركم كمان إنه الحلقة مباشرة على الفيسبوك، ففيكم أنتوا تكتبوا الكومنتس تبعكم أو السؤالات تبعكم أو تعليقاتكم على الفيسبوك لايف ونحن بنسألهم للمحامي حميد دكروب. محامي حميد دكروب يا أهلا وسهلا فيك.
أهلا فيك.
حدثنا ببداية الحلقة مثل هيك اوفر فيو، عطونا نحن بنحب نذكرهم عن الستيت بلانينج.
Correct.
شو الستيت بلانينج؟
Estate planning ناس عندهم أملاك بدهم يوزعوا الأملاك لأولادهم أو لعائلتهم إذا لا سمح الله صار لهم شيء. بس also it deals with what happens if you're alive. بعدك عايش بس ما فيك you can't make your own decision. So if لا سمح الله something happens to you, you're in a car accident, who's going to make your decisions? People think the family members have the automatic right, but that's not true. Husband or wife are not always given the right to make the decisions for each other, and the kids are not always given the right to make the decisions for the family members. The hospitals don't want to take liability, and also then if you don't have any estate planning, wasiyya, wikale, no trust, any of that stuff, the state of Michigan will come in and will tell you who's gonna watch over your young children.
Okay.
They're gonna tell you who's gonna get what from your amlak and how much they're gonna get, and who's gonna be in charge of وزعing the amlak.
موضوع كتير مهم ونحن على طول عم نحاول نذكرهم بهيدي القصة إنه ما ياخدوها بشكل تلقائي إنه إذا أنا متزوج لا سمح الله أنا صار لي شيء مرتي هي اللي اللي بتقسم الاملاك، او اولادي هن اللي بيقسموا الاملاك، او اذا انا فور اكزامبل صار لي شيء بالمستشفى ومش قادر اعمل قراراتي، مين في يعمل قرار عني؟
exactly
او اذا انا لا سمح الله توفيت، مين كيف ومين بياخد املاكي.
exactly
فكتير مهم العالم تنتبه لهيدي الشغلات.
yes
لانه مثل ما حكينا هذيك المره، يعني حتى لو انت مثل مشترك وصيه
yes
بدك تروح على بروبيت كورت، مش
correct أو إذا تارك وصية بتروح على probate court كمان
100%. يعني وإذا
Exactly.
تارك وصيه ولا مشترك وصيه مش عامل تراست، يعني
Exactly.
بدك تروح على البروبيت كورت. وحكينا هذيك المره كمان انه البروسس بياخد اوقات 8 اشهر اوقات سنه،
minimum 8 months to a year minimum 8 months to a year
تصور انه انت
exactly
بدك ما فيك تمد ايدك على اولادك او مرتك او عائلتك، ما فينا يمدوا ايدهم على املاكك والمصاري اللي انت عندك اياها لبعد 8 اشهر. يعني شو بيصير فيهم؟ كيف يطلعوا بيناتهم؟
because if they do then somebody has to be appointed right away. Somebody لازم يكون مسؤول على الاسtate, okay, and then that person is in charge of paying the bills and paying everything. But technically speaking, the beneficiaries, الأولاد or your spouse are not supposed to inherit until the end of the process. Why? Because إذا عندك دين you have debts, right? إذا عندك دين that you have to pay off, that comes before. If you have lawyer fees, that comes before. If you have court fees, that comes before. إذا عندكم administration fees, that comes before. Funeral, burial, that comes before. Yes, exactly. So how do you save money? How do you avoid that? Trust or other estate planning mechanisms as well too.
خلينا نبلش بموضوعنا اللي هو موضوع الestate planning والدين.
Very important.
تفضل حميد.
Thank you. So I know.
شو العلاقة بيناتهم؟
So I know, like for example, in Islam, there's also there's obviously religious distributions, religious debts that have to be paid off and whatnot. Also in Judaism as well too, they have their also their laws as well too. And so in you know verse 2. In chapter 2, verse 180 of the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you know, prescribed for you when death approaches any one of you, if he leaves wealth, is that he should make a bequest, right? So this is something that's a duty for all Muslims in, you know, who want to follow the Islamic way. Exactly correct. Now, I'm not trying to, you know, take one side or another, and please, I want to make sure I emphasize I'm not a scholar in any one shape or form. So I'm not, no. I'm just a lawyer, exactly, but I've consulted with quite a few mashayikh, right? Sunni Shia, you know, religious scholars of different faiths as well too. Yes, just to make sure, because you know I have all types of clients as well, whether it's Christian, Jewish, Muslim, and or non clients that don't follow a particular religion as well too, right? So how does this all work together, right? So the concept is, the basic concept is, if you leave a wasiyah, in the wasiyah you have to give according to what the Islamic law prescribes for you to give. An overview says 1/8 goes to the wife, and then the remaining goes to the children, with twice the share for the son more than the daughter. Right? If it's the vice versa, and the man survives the woman, he gets a fourth, but still the same distribution method comes in with the boys. The boys get double than what the girl gets, right?
هذا القانون الإسلامي. خلينا نفسر شوي بالعربي حميد. بتعرف بالعربي كيف تقوله؟
قانون الإسلامي.
شو هو؟
عندهم الميراث. هيدا اسم الوراث، بس إذا عندكم أملاك.
لما بتيجي الأملاك بالقانون الإسلامي كيف بيقسمون القانون الإسلامي؟
Yes, exactly. كيف بيقسمون 1/8
واحد على 8
to the wife,
للمرأة,
and then the remainder to the kids if there's kids, but twice the share for the son and then the daughter.
كل بنتين بصبي نحن بنقول لهم هيك على طول. نحن هيك بنقول لهم انه كل بالقانون الاسلامي بالوصيه لما انت توصي كل بنتين بيطلع لهم قد ما بيطلع له للشاب.
Correct.
اوكي كثير منيح. هلا تمام.
Yes. Now people tell me, well, they come into my office and they say, well, Hameed, you know, I know that Islamically it says so and so, but I don't want to do Islamic.
حلو.
How do I still please God, but at the same time still accomplish my wishes, which I want to give, let's just say, my wife everything, and if not, then to my kids evenly, right? How do I do that and still do it? Well, if you leave assets bil wasiyah, technically speaking, you own the amlak upon your passing. So you're the one who's the sole owner. So when you die, you're still the owner of the property until it gets distributed, right? Because you're the one on title, you're the one who owns everything, things like that.
حتى يقسمون يحطون باسمهم بعدك انت حتى لو بعد ما ماتك بعدك انت الأونر.
Yes, exactly. So you have to go through probate court in order to get it changed, right?
So بلبنان موجود كتير بلبنان يعني بتكون واحد ميت صار له 100 سنة بعد الأرض باسمه.
Yeah, exactly.
منها كتير بعد هيدا.
So I've spoken to quite a few religious scholars, and I've asked them and I've told them, I was like, a lot of my clients don't want to do according to what Islamic principles say.
تمام.
How do you change that?
حلو.
So, or what, is there an alternative? Is there a way around that? What they tell me, yes, a trust. And this is something that we've been discussing for a lot of the shows that we've done. Trust. Now, how does a trust, for example, benefit you so that way you don't have to give according to what your religion says, for example, the Islamic religion? Well, first, what you're doing in a trust is you're transferring assets to a trust during your lifetime while you are okay mentally.
Okay.
So right now you're taking everything that right now Hussein Hashim owns a house, car, things like that. Let's just say, for example, he's taking those assets and he's putting them into this trust.
حلو.
Okay.
بطلع عليه دعايات.
Exactly. So and then he's putting them into this trust. So technically speaking, if last time something happens to Hussein,
Yeah.
he's not solely in his name the owner of those assets. Who owns it? The trust.
حلو.
But who owns the trust? You. But upon your passing, it's not in your individual name. And because it's not in your individual name, in the name of the trust,
حلو.
you don't have to give according to the Islamic
هذه نقطة
rules.
مهمة.
Very important.
إيه.
Very important. Because people don't know this. And this is something that, now, like I
بس هل يا
said,
ترى هلا أنت منك شيخ مثل ما قلنا بالأول
Yes.
بس هل يا ترى إنه هيدي إنه
Yes.
still Islamically correct?
yes, I'll tell you why. Because one of the Islamic principles is a big foundation for Islamic principles says you can gift during your lifetime 100% of your assets to whoever you want. Unless you're, of course, sick to a point where you're incompetent and then you don't have the capability of do so mentally. If somebody came and influenced you and things like that, then of course you cannot do so. But right now, if I'm fine, I can gift everything I want to whoever it is that I want. Whether it's a non-Muslim, whether it's a Muslim, non-Muslim, anything like that. It's so I can give a lifetime gift. So upon my passing, I don't own anything, which means that last time something happens to me, I don't have to give according to what the Islamic principles
You
say.
don't have to.
So the same concept involves a trust. Why? Because you're technically giving assets to this trust. This trust owns it. This trust distributes it upon your passing. You don't own anything upon your passing. So that's a really, really, really big way. It's not like it's a big way around it. It's just something that allows you, God gives you the opportunity to gift 100% of your assets during your lifetime to whoever it is that you want. This is also a vehicle of doing so as well too. Now, what I do as well is within my estate planning, I also say, if you want, we can still do a trust, but we can also do the trust according to Islamic principles if you like.
Okay.
And it's very difficult. Why? Because every time somebody passes away in the family, the shares and the percentages change.
Okay.
It's never going to be the same. Versus you can say right now, I want my wife to get everything. If not, then my kids to get everything. Fine, that can always stay the same way. Whether it's one person,
طول ما أنت عايش وقادر إنه تعمل القرارات تبعك, you're able to decide who can take your money.
Always. Yes.
هذه النقطة اللي بدنا نوصل لها. يعني نحن بنحب نذكرهم عم يحضرونا. Why don't you pin the subject? The subject that we're talking about is basically religion and estate planning. Do they work together? Do they work against each other? مظبوط?
Yes.
But it seems that they work together to some extent.
Yes, they work together, and there's ways that you can make it work with Michigan law as well too. Okay. So what I do is I make sure that instead of you going to, let's just say, a religious organization to do this for you, it might not be compliant with Michigan law. Okay. So whatever you say in your wasiyah might not work under Michigan law. So I have to combine both of them. Take the religious and Islamic.
عنه, for example, نحن بنعرف Islamically, like you said.
Correct.
It has to be, for example, for every 2 girls, 1 boy.
Yes.
And whatever every 2 girls get, the boy
gets a share. Correct.
This is against Michigan law, right?
Well, not that it's against Michigan law. You can still do it, right? Okay. You can still do it. But Michigan law prescribes rules for the spouse.
تمام.
So the spouse, right? But Michigan law says this: if you intend on giving things religiously, then you cannot give, and if you don't,
right.
There's no Islamic law that trumps what Michigan law says. So if you pass away, without a will, Michigan law is going to tell you who gets what. But if you pass away with a will, according to Islamic law, then you can incorporate Islamic law with Michigan law to an extent.
Very nice.
Now, another thing is people don't know this, is if you give according to Islamic law in your Michigan will, there's your spouse, if they want to, they can technically say, I don't want to take the share that you've given me because Michigan law gives me more.
حلو.
So how do you make sure that you kind of avoid this? A trust.
And if Michigan law gives them more, they can sue.
Then they can go against. There's something called election against the will. You can elect against the will
Hello.
and take your share, which will throw off the Islamic distributions, of course. But how can you avoid that if in fact you're really adamant about Islamic distribution? You do a trust.
حلو.
Yes.
موضوع كتير مهم. بتمنى انه كل حيلا عنده واحد سؤال بالنسبه لهذا الموضوع يتواصل معنا على الاستديو. ارقام التليفونات بالاستديو فون نمبر هن 313-769-6666 and from Windsor, Canada it's 519-256-1023 519-256-1023 Detroit it's 313-769-6666. Thank you to everyone that's watching on Instagram. You know, this is the first time I go on our Instagram on WhatsApp media, and it seems we have a lot of good people watching us. So thank you to everyone that's watching us. And I did, he's saying, give an example. I think Hameed, he explained it very well.
Example of what specifically? I'd love to give an example.
بعتقد the one that talks about the shares, how they're distributed.
Sure.
Based on Michigan law.
Sure. For example, based on Michigan law, okay. If somehow something happens to you and you pass away, right? Your spouse gets the first $150,000 of your estate plus it's 3/4 of the remaining assets if you have children from the same marriage.
Okay.
So technically, and it's adjusted for inflation. So that 150 now, you know, years later now it's right now I think like 220 or something.
Okay.
So she'll get the first 220 plus 3/4 of the remaining balance of the estate if it's more than that.
Okay.
So technically the kids might not get anything. So this will throw off Islamic principles completely.
Okay.
Right? And then everybody else gets even. So the kids will get evenly that 25% share, the remainder of the 3/4 they'll get it evenly. Or if the spouse isn't alive, no spouse is alive and just kids, all the kids will get in evenly, which will take away from the Islamic shares. However, if you have a trust, you can go ahead and you can make it according to either Islamic principles, and you can make it, or you can make it according to what you want to do, because you don't have to give according to Islamic principles with regards to a trust, and that's according to a few mashayikh that I spoke to of different schools of Islamic thought.
Different school of thoughts.
Yes.
So I, you know.
But please consult with your own scholar before. Please.
عطول لما whenever you guys are trying to do a وصية or you're trying to do a trust or will, you know, if you wanna respect the religious aspect of it, always try to consult with your lawyer, but at the same time consult with one of
work together, and then we work together to put your plan.
Hameed, he always work with different scholars
from different schools of thought.
So I know you have good مش بس إنه you have good relations, but كمان good relations help too to
Sure,
basically
of course.
talk to them and always get their consultation.
Of course, and not every scholar knows this.
If you allow me to say
please.
it, Hameed, I know I spoke to you yesterday, and ما بعرف إذا yesterday أو before حكينا عن قصة إنه actually they want to do it, you know, according to the Islamic law, it takes you probably double or triple the work to do it.
It is. Yeah, it's double, triple the work, but I don't charge more for it.
I know.
I should.
بس إنه قديش دقيق أنت بهذا الموضوع، بتاخد وقتك، وأنا تعاملت معك مرة بموضوع وأخذت وقتك بشكل you're very إنه detailed to the period.
Thank you. Yeah.
Type of voice recognition. Okay, Robert is asking, what if we have a property outside of Michigan? Will the trust in Michigan cover what we owe outside?
I get this. Yes. Go
The
ahead.
second part of his question, and also we have a trust in Michigan and we moved to another state, and do we also still cover?
Very good questions.
Robert,
So,
he's gonna ask Rabia. I'm sorry, not Rabia. Robert Hijazi.
Oh,
So Rabia.
Dr. Hijazi. Dr. Hijazi is great guy. So Dr. Hijazi, very good questions. To answer your first question, you can have property overseas, and unless you get it maybe stamped by the consulate, then it will not be recognized overseas. However, there are very strict rules overseas. For example, take Lebanon, for example. Let's just stay on that. If, for example, you give according to a trust the way that you want to give, and let's just say they recognize it by the consulate overseas, and they say, okay, we're going to recognize this. Although there's no trust over there now, there's only just wills.
Okay.
Let's just say they recognize it. If your family members dispute it and say, you know what, I don't like this, Islamically, I get more, they get more. that becomes a void.
Okay.
So my recommendation is
هذا بلبنان.
correct.
Okay.
Correct. Or Islamic countries that believe in this, that have the same rules when it comes to Islamic division. Very important.
So إذا أنت عامل وصية هون أو trust هون and then you move to a country where the Islamic rules, Islamic law rules, they go by the Islamic law, they don't go by the trust that you have.
Correct. Unless they stamp the trust and say, okay, we're going to accept this, then fine, they accept it. But the difference is if the family isn't happy with it, they can reject it.
حلو.
Right? And they can reject it. That's it. Now, I'm not speaking on all countries, but I'm speaking on one. Now, his second question, when you come to a will, you have to have a will in multiple states, or you have to open up probate administration in multiple states. But if you have a trust, your trust is recognized nationwide.
Okay.
So that's where also people like to have trust, because they don't have to, because trust avoids probate court. And then that's where you can get recognized nationwide.
طيب, I think بالقسم الثاني من السؤال لربيع هو عن قصة إذا they move to another state other than
it's accepted nationwide.
Nationwide. The trust, not
yes.
the will.
Not the will, the trust.
لأنه أنا مذكر قلت لي مرة إنه not the will,
yes.
the trust is accepted.
Because if last time something happens to you and you have property in different states, you have to have ancillary probate administration in multiple states.
تمام.
Which is frustrating versus you have just one trust and you can administer it privately. Because remember, trust avoid probate court. Wills do not. People are like, what do you mean? Yes, the wasiyah does not avoid probate court. People always tell me, Hameed, why am I here? Why is the bank not giving me authority? Why are they telling me I have to go to court? Why are they telling me I can't sell my dad's house, for example? What, you know, he had a will, he said this and that. Doesn't matter. The differences between having a wasiyah and not having a wasiyah is at least in your wasiyah you can say who gets what, who's going to distribute it, and who's going to watch over your kids. Versus not having a wasiyah, the courts will say who's going to get what, who's going to watch over your kids, and who's going to distribute your property.
تمام. عم بيعمل لك شكرا ومع كس ربيع.
Thank you ربيع. Thank you for your questions.
موضوع كتير سؤال كتير مهم طرحه ربيع وجواب كتير مهم. خلينا نترجم لكم اياه بالعربي. انه اذا عندك تراست، اذا عندك تراست وانت بميشيغان نقلت على ولايه ثانيه، هذا التراست بيشتغل على امريكا كلها. So it doesn't matter where you live in the US. التراست بس هو اللي بيعتمدوه بامريكا كلها، مش الويل بس بالستيت اللي انت موجود فيها. مزبوط. وكمان الفرق بين التراست والويل اللي حكينا عنه بهذيك المره نحن، انه اذا عندك ويل اتليست انت عم بتقرر انه مين بده ياخذ شغلات من عندك من اولادك. مزبوط. او who you're gonna give your money to.
Correct.
But still you have to go to probate court.
Yes.
Trust you don't have to go to probate court. فهذه الشغلتين الفرق اللي بين الشغلتين. شكرا على سؤالك ربيع. هذا واحد عنده سؤال. منى عم بتقول هاي is there any premonitions؟ منى ما فهمت سؤالك صراحة. so جاي بعتينا سؤالك or call us على الاستوديو. في عنا اتصال على الاستوديو. call us على 313 769 6666 313 769 6666 هو ده الرقم على الاستوديو. Good topics always. Thank you. Anyone that's watching us on Instagram, I'm gonna end the Instagram live. Please go to Facebook and watch us on Facebook, or go to the radio and watch us on 102.3 FM. راح الاتصال اللي كان معنا على الخط رجعوا دقوا لنا.
Or you want to give them my number as well too, so they
اكيد رقم المحامي حميد دكروب هو 313 401 4488. هذا الرقم الدايركت تبع المحامي حميد دكروب. هاي لو واحد بيحب هلا يدق على الاستوديو يطلع له هلا فري كونسلتيشن يسالوا سؤالكم 313 769 6666. تابعونا على الفيسبوك بيج. راح خليني نسكر الانستغرام. ف حميد خلينا نحكي هلا عن trust and wills in Islam.
Yes.
يعني الورث والوصية بالإسلام. Go ahead حميد.
Yes, so we touched on this a little bit. Essentially, that's the way, like when I do estate planning and people want to incorporate Islamic principles, what I like to do is I like to say, if something happens to them, we attach a form which is in the trust that says you recommend that the trustee talk to a religious scholar from your religious school of thought to sort of redistribute the assets if you had it one way first. And then, because years later down the line somebody may have passed away or changes happen to your family, the percentages are going to change. So I incorporate that as well too. Next thing that I incorporate in my trust and my wills, for example, for Islamic distributions, is Islamic debts and how they get paid off. Right? So your religious debts. So your religious debts also get paid off.
شو هن religious debts؟
Yes. For example, yes, exactly. Like if you had
خلينا ناخذ الاتصال احنا ما يسكر الخط يرجع كمان. الو مين معنا؟
مرحبا، انا اسمي اخلاص.
اهلا وسهلا. تفضلي اخلاص، المحامي معك.
انا يا أساس فتحت الراديو سمعت، بس أنا أسألك سؤال. أنا عندي بيت وعندي سيارة وعندي شغلات، أريد أكتبها باسم ابني، يعني لا سمح الله أي شيء يصير.
أكيد.
يعني لازم أروح أسوي الوصية.
تفضل محامي.
Yes, it depends. If إذا بدك تعملي فيك تعملي وصية, so that way you have all control during your lifetime. If you don't want to and you want to give him control and you want to transfer to him, you can. The difference is you lose control. Or if less
لا دقيقة، هو عمره 16 سنة هسه.
Oh yeah, you do not want. No,
Yeah.
do not put it in. Do not put it in his name, because you know what happens if he's under 18 and he inherits. Then somebody has to be appointed from the court to protect his assets until he turns 18 and he receives.
هو زوجي عايش هو، بس احنا نريد نسوي كل شيء باسمه، يعني نقدر نقول قدر هو الصير.
Yes, I can definitely help. So what I like to do is I want to learn about your case in more detail, because it's more, there's a lot that goes into it than just a house or everything like that. So why don't you call my office or my direct line, sorry, at 313-401.
أنا بالسيارة هسه.
Oh, 4488.
إذا بالسيارة بإخلاص فيك ترجعي تحضري الحلقة على الفيسبوك على واتساب ميديا نتورك، أو تتواصلي مع الراديو بتدقي لهم بعد الشو، هن بيعطوكي رقم المحامي حميد
And
دكروب.
please be careful driving as well.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then you can call me and then I have a free consultation. You're welcome to come in. We can talk about everything.
بس الرقم التليفون شلون أحصله؟
رقم التليفون فيك ترجعي تدقي على الراديو، بس توقفي على جنب بيعطوكي رقم التليفون تحت الهواء. او بتطلعي على الفيسبوك على واتساب ميديا نتورك، الحلقه موجوده هونيك، ارقام التليفونات موجوده هونيك.
Yes, again I'll tell it to you, 313-401-4488.
Okay, I called again the.
ان شاء الله.
Okay.
اذا
Sounds good.
Thank
you so much. Bye bye.
عندنا سؤال من سؤالين actually من Facebook. Hello guys, what if you still have any loans on your property? Does the trust guarantee that it will be passed to your family members? خلينا ناخذ هالاتصال كمان، بس برجع بعد لك السؤال ان شاء الله حتى ما نضطرنش على الهواء. تفضلوا، مين معنا؟
Hello.
اهلا وسهلا، مين معنا؟
معك باب. How are you?
اهلا وسهلا فيك باب. المحامي حميد دكروب معك على الهواء، تفضل.
أستاذ حميد.
أهلا، هاي باب.
How much you charge just for I want to establish a new company? Just a name for now, no asset.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's just sit down and talk about things in detail. I give prices. I give prices in person, because sometimes you may not need certain things with your estate plan, and so if I give you a price now, it might change later. So let's talk. It's a free consultation. You're welcome to meet me in person. We can definitely discuss everything in detail. And if you're not happy, I mean, obviously, I want to do my best to make you happy, but you're not tied to anything.
يعني ما في commitment، يعني روح لعنده. It's a free consultation.
No, I know. I'm not worried about that. I just
yeah.
Because hearing you saying something about the trust makes sense.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
Maybe this is something I want to do. That's
most definitely.
I just made up my mind right now. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you listening and tuning in and wanting to do this, because I see it all the time, the consequences of what happens when you don't do it. I do probate and I do estate planning. So people who don't do estate planning, I get court assignments from judges in the courts all the time, and I go help people in probate court in general. So I see both aspects of it, and I tell everybody who does probate, even other lawyers who call me and they tell me, you know, Hameed, I need help with probate. Could you help me do 1, 2, 3? They're like, I never want to deal with this again. How can I make sure that I don't have to go through probate court? So it is, and trust me, it's worth it, and it's not expensive as you might think. Very fair.
Okay.
So my number is 313
408
401
401
4488, and just call me, and we'll go ahead and we'll set something up. Like I said, it's a free consultation.
Sure, I'll call you tomorrow.
شكرا على اتصالك.
Sounds good. Thank you, Bob.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Yes, the question that you had on.
Yes. بس موضوع كتير مهم. انت قبل ما ارجع اسالك،
Yes, please.
في سؤالات كتير على الفيسبوك ان شاء الله بنوصل. الموضوع اللي قلته انت، الاوقات العالم بيفكروا شو هي الكاست بالاول. بس مره حكينا فيها انه اذا ما عندك تراست، الكاست it's triple or 4 times the cost رح تدفع حتى تعمل التراست.
People don't know. Okay, let's just say you pay for a wasiyah. It's not that expensive, right? You pay for a wasiyah. Now, what happens when, let's say you die?
Yeah.
Right? Your family has to go through probate court, right? If your assets are in your name. Now, they go through court. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. They don't know what documents to fill out. Not only that, they have to go through court. What happens when they go through court? They have to hire a lawyer. If lawyers charge a couple $1,000s a minimum, $2,500 a minimum for basic administration for probate. Why? Because it takes 8 months to a year, and that's a minimum fee. It can be more. And not only that, the courts will charge you for the application or the petition fee. So you have to pay the court cost to file documents. And then the court takes a percentage of the assets that you own for themselves, called an inventory fee. What's an inventory fee? It's not like رح تاخد بيتك وتحطها بالكورت، ما رح تاخد أملاكك وتحطها بالكورت. Yeah, it's called an inventory fee. What that means is the court takes a percentage of the assets you own for the fees for the court. Okay. Now you can avoid all this with a trust, and it's cheaper.
مظبوط. زي أنا حطي الرقم الثاني على الفيسبوك، حطيت الرقم اللي هداك، حطي ال 4014488.
Yeah, the other one's my office. It's fine. Either one is fine. But of course, if you call my number directly, leave me a voicemail. I'll get back to you right away.
جاهزين لدعاية لما ناخذ هذا الاتصال إذا في اتصال. اللي عم بيحضرونا على دقيقة على الفيسبوك عم بيقول thank you for the valuable info. حسن عم بيقول لي ask my question. I will حسن. بس خليني اخذ بريك وبرجع بسأل السؤال تبعك. تفضلوا، مين معنا على الهواء؟
مرحبا.
يا أهلا وسهلا. مين معنا؟
منى.
يا أهلا وسهلا منى. المحامي حميد دكروب معك على الهواء. تفضلي.
اهلا، يعطيك العافيه.
الله يعافيك.
سؤال.
نعم.
هلا انا بدي اجي على المكتب، بس ما في بروموشن لل اذا فيني اعمل الوصيه، مش الوصيه العاديه، الوصيه الثانيه اللي انت دائما تاكد عليها.
Yes, actually, you know what? We were gonna do this after the halfway on the show. We wanted to announce it as well too. Is if you sign up today with me, or if you call us and you say you heard me on the show with What's Up Media Network, Hussein Hachem, الأخبار, then I'll give you $100 off of what you sign up for that. So just mention the radio that you heard me on the radio, then you automatically get $100 off of your fee for whatever you sign up for me.
يلا ها شفتي اتصالك طلع لك $100 هيدي ببلاش.
Yes, we were actually going to get to it at the break right now actually, but you beat us to it.
طيب يعطيكم العافية. يعني إذا فيني مثلا أجي maybe next week على
أكيد، بس دقي على
No problem. To call my direct number exactly 313-401-4488, and then call me, and then I will call you back, and we'll set something up inshallah that works for both of us.
Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for calling.
اتصالك. خلينا ناخذ بريك لانه قطعنا شوي عن البريك. خلينا ناخذ بريك كتير قصير من شو الاخبار، وبنرجع لكم. مش مطولين كتير، بريك ودقيقه واحده ونكون راجعين لكم.
موقع قريب من السماء وجنة على الأرض، مطرح بتلتقى خيوط الشمس مع أمواج البحر الصافي. عم بتفكر بعطلة مع عائلتك تروق راسك فيها بعيد عن ضغط الشغل والهم؟ ما إلك إلا تزورنا بكريستال ساندز بيتش ريزورت. نظافة خفافة، خدمة ولا أروع، هدفها راحتك واستجمامك، وإطلالة أقل ما بينقال عنها خلابة. يلا شو ناطرين؟ اتصلوا واحجزوا، ناطرينكن. كريستال ساند بيتش ريزورت 1238 نورث هيرون رود، تاواس سيتي ميشيغان 989-8767-317. لما بيصير شغفك الخبر والعين اللي بتشوف فيها هالدنيا عدست كاميرتك، لما بترسم البسمة بإيد الإبداع وبتشارك الفرحة مع جاليتك لأبعد مدى، لما بتصير مصدر ثقة ومتابعينك بيصيروا بالآلاف، ما فيك إلا تقول إنك أخيراً وصلت لهدفك. بس هدفنا يتخطى حدود السماء. شو الأخبار والتي في بقى كبيرة ومتنوعة من البرامج الحوارية الثقافية والترفيهية، تقارير خاصة وتغطية مباشرة. نحن هدفنا أنتم، وأنتم هدفكم المصداقية، ونحن قدها. لإعلاناتكم معنا الاتصال على 313-258-6799. عروضات منوعة وكتير بأسواق البلد بمناسبة قدوم شهر رمضان المبارك. فليفلي خضراء $8، كوسة ب39 سنت، ليمون 10$، فليفلي ملونة $3، ملفوف 19 سنت البون، موز ب29 سنت، كل أنواع التفاح ب89 سنت. لحقوا حالكم، العرض مستمر، وبشهر الكرم نحن أهل الكرم. أسواق البلد 20125 أن أربر تريل، ديربون هايتس، 313-271-1000.
ومنعود لكم بحلقتنا. حلو الواحد هيك يكون عم يضحك شوي بين البريك، هيك تاخذ جو وبترجع. كان عندنا سؤالات قبل البريك حميد، في اتصال كمان. شوفي لنا شو الاتصال، بدك تاخذوا دغري؟ يلا بناخذه دغري. الو، مين معنا؟
انا حكيت معك اخلاص، بس بدي
اخلاص. ايه تكرم عينك. اخلاص رقم التليفون هو 313
نعم
401
نعم
4488.
488.
ميك شور لما تدقي لهم قولي لهم انا دقيت على الراديو، لانه هلا اعلن حميد انه حيلا واحد بدق على الراديو اليوم بيطلع له $100 اوف.
اوكي، بس سؤال واحد، يعني هو لازم احنا نسوي وصية؟
Yes, if you don't, then the state of Michigan, the courts will tell you who's gonna get what for you.
اوكي.
Yes.
اوكي. يعني كيف ندفع
على الوصية لأن
ان شاء الله بس تدقي له هو
Like I said, it's a free consultation because there's more to it than just the wasiyah. There's the wikala, there's everything else as well too. So we talk about everything, and inshallah we'll make something work for you that you'll be happy with, and for everybody else as well, of course.
إذا الله رد. شكرا على اتصالك.
Thank you so much.
خليني اخذ السؤالين. حسن والله رح اسال سؤالك. يلا خلينا نسمع سؤال حسن. What if I owe money? Do I still have to do the Islamic will and pay Islamic dues?
For sure.
He owes money.
Yeah.
ايه.
You have to. That means that you're a part of your Islamic dues is that you have to pay the money that you owe before anybody inherits.
مزبوط. ايه.
Yeah.
إذا عليك مصاري بالإسلام لازم تبرد قيمتك قبل ما تنام.
Yeah, of course.
حسن الله لا يوفقك. روح برد قيمتك.
Don't worry. And Hassan, what I could do for you is inside the wasiyah or the trust, I incorporate religious estate planning. So for example, I say that upon my passing, something happens, that my Islamic debts, whatever I owe, is going to be paid out before anybody receives anything. So that way my conscience can be clear in the hereafter, for example.
Very good. Alex is asking, hello guys, what if you still have any loans on your property, does the trust guarantee that it will be passed to your family members?
Depends what type of loans, right? So when you have a good trust and estate planning lawyer, anything that's unsecured, like credit cards or things like that, a good lawyer will help make sure they minimize or maybe even get rid of it for you before the beneficiaries inherit, right? So you have to have a good lawyer who does that. And there's also ladybird deeds and other tools and alternatives to certain estate planning that ends up benefiting you as well too. So this is why most people usually and they say Hameed بس بدي أعمل وصية.
Okay.
بس هيك بدي أعمل وصية. Simple well هيك بس بدي أعطي 1 2 3. Then I start asking them questions and they're like, I never thought of that, or I didn't know about this, or I'm not sure about this. Like Medicaid, this is a very important conversation in the community. Yes, because a lot of people come to me and they say, Hameed, Medicaid is coming after because my mom was on long-term care and now they're coming after for $100,000 for the long-term care and the benefits, because people don't know that Medicaid is going to want their money back. They think nothing is really free. Healthcare is free. It's Medicaid free, but if you have an asset, they're going to come after you for whatever you have. So you have to understand there's certain ways that you can get around it legally. Illegally, of course, legally. The law gives you certain ways that you could do. It's a free consultation. The worst thing that can happen is at least now you got more aware of your situation, even if you don't want to sign up. But there's a lot of issues and there's a lot of problems because people are not doing proper estate planning. People are not amning halun or their families, and people end up in court all the time when they can easily avoid it. And so this is
مزبوط. وقت انت قادر انه تريح راسك وما تفوت بمشاكل وما تفوت بقصص مع المحاكم وما تفوت بقصص، يعني اوقات انت شغلات بتكون منك منتبه لها، مثل قصه الميديكيت اللي حكينا عنها هذيك المره، انه انت بس الواحد يتوفى الميديكيت يمكن يقولوا له بدنا اذا هو عنده بعض مصاري
of course املاك بيجوا
للاملاك تبعه، انه هذه كثير نقطه مهمه الواحد ينتبه لها. خلينا نرجع لموضوعنا اللي هو التراست والويل ان الاسلام. كنت عم تشرح حضرتك هذا الموضوع.
Yes. So not only do I incorporate Islamic debts into your wasiyah or your trust, the division of shares as well too, and then I do it too in case somehow something happens to one of the family members. I make sure to say that you want to make sure that the trustee is in charge of speaking to a religious scholar from your school of thought in order to make sure that everything is changed accordingly, right? And there's like a letter of instruction that you attach to your estate planning documents. There's ways that you can do things to where you work with you talk about these things, right?
Okay.
Now, gifting as well too. Like I mentioned before, you can gift certain assets away. Now, in Islam, it says you cannot give against the Islamic distributions to people who are like non-Muslims, non-family members, things like that. You have to give according to what the Islamic law says, right? You can't disinherit certain people, and there's specific rules. Now, how can I sit there and say I want to give more to a particular organization that's not maybe a family member or something? You can do that in a trust by doing whatever you want. But if you have a will, you can only do up to 1/3. So you can give 1/3 of your estate to anybody who's maybe a non-Muslim and non-family member, right? You could do that. There's also different rules between Sunni and Shia as well too, and this is why you need to consult with your religious scholar. But that's
دائما مهم ترجع على انت اللي بتتبعه. يعني حتى نحن عندنا إذا واحد شيعي، يعني نحن في عندك مراجع مختلفة، يعني انت في منهم بيقلدوا سيد محمد، في منهم بيقلدوا سيد علي، يعني بدك ترجع للمرجع اللي انت بتقلده. وكمان بالنسبة للحيلا مذهب اللي انت whoever you follow, there's
Maliki, Hanafi, Sunnis and everybody.
يعني whoever's school of belief انت you follow you have to كمان انت بتتواصل معهم وهم
Yes,
كمان they have to go back
we
to
work together.
تمام.
We have to work
مع بعض.
together. Yes, we have to work together. So that's that. So there's a lot of like khums, zakat as well too, right? And there's different schools of thoughts with regards to how those need to be paid. Those are also factored into the estate plan. Or what if you didn't perform hajj, or and you have maybe prayers that you owe, things like that. That's also factored in here as well too. So we try to cover everything from Michigan law and Islamic law together, so that way you have a combination of both. That way you don't go to a religious leader, for example, and they do an Islamic will for you, and the Islamic will doesn't match under Michigan law, and it gets completely thrown out.
كثير منيح. خلينا نذكرهم بارقام التليفونات اللي هن من ديترويت 313-769-6666 ومن وينزر كندا 519-256-1023. بنحب نذكركم باللي الاوفر تبع المحامي حميد دكروب اليوم هو اذا بتدقوا على الراديو اليوم بيطلع لكم $100 اوف اي سيرفيس عند المحامي حميد دكروب، بس دقوا على الراديو. رقم التليفون هو 313-769-6666. موضوعنا رح نتحدث فيه اليوم نحن هو How does religion and estate planning work together?
Correct.
عندنا سؤال من الفيسبوك.
Yes.
حميد من سامي بيقول لك كيف الخمس والزكاة بيحسبوها إذا عندك علم؟ If you know, how do they?
Yes. So what happens is that also gets subtracted from your wasiyah or your trust as well too. As a so now that is depending on, that's a very detailed topic. Yes. So technically speaking, the khums in general, a general understanding of the khums says that after you pay your bills is typically you get 1/5 of what you have to pay for your Islamic duty, right? So that's typically like a 20% off of the profit that you made for. And then there's rules when it comes to how long has that money been sitting in the bank for you? Has it been there for a year for you to go ahead and pay on it? So there's a lot of strict rules when it comes to
zakat.
Zakat is typically 2.5%. It's a tax, but it's a tax on specific things like silver, gold, cows, sheep, goats, camels. It's not so that's why there's difference of opinion between the schools of thought when it comes to the zakat as well too.
يعني
But either way we'll take care of it.
بس يعني حيلا سؤال تاني عندي كير الأرقام المحامي اللي نعطيها. خلينا ناخذ الخط لحتى ما نضطرنش زيادة. مين معنا؟
السلام عليكم.
يا أهلا وعليكم السلام. مين معنا؟
عصام. بسألك قضية الخمس.
نعم.
في فتوى بقول فيك تعطيها للفقراء المحتاجين. هل هي مضبوطة كمان؟
I cannot get into that because that you have to consult with your religious leader. Yes, I don't want to get into that.
بس انا حسب معرفتي الشخصيه انا سائل قبل كشخص، انا يعني كشخص انا ماني شيخ، فاهمين كيف؟ لا بس انت كمان رجع للشخص اللي انت بتتبعه.
Exactly.
انا لعل نرجع السيد محمد حسين فضل بقول مسموحه.
بدك تتواصل مع مكتب السيد محمد هون بامريكا، موجودين هن بامريكا عندهم مكتب هون.
No problem. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. But either way, we'll be able to take care of these debts for you.
أكيد بتسأل هيك. تفضل لنا اتصال تاني. كلي على طول خبط لزق. تفضلوا مين معنا؟ ألو. أهلا وسهلا. مين معنا؟
فؤاد معك الخط.
تفضل فؤاد. محامي حميد دكروب معك. أهلا وسهلا فيك.
سؤال. If I have the names of my kids in my house seat,
yes,
do I still have to make a will?
Not for the house, but I'll tell you what. Here's the problem when we do this, especially in our community, we do this a lot. We put our kids or our family members on the deeds. We just did the video on this right now. Yeah. And so what happens is if one of your kids gets sued, or if one of your kids is under 18, something happens, you might lose the house. People don't know this, and you lose control. So if you end up wanting to sell it, you need everybody's permission. And if somebody's unavailable, if last time something happened to somebody and somebody got sick, somebody's overseas, then you're going to need powers of attorney. And if there's not, before they get sick, and if they don't have powers of attorneys, then you have to go through probate court to get approval in order for you to sell the house that's really yours, but you put your kids on it, just so you can avoid probate court. So there's a lot of times, our community, we like to do this. بنحط أملاكنا باسم أولادنا وعائلتنا. Problem is it's a big problem because if one of them gets sued, if one of them is unavailable, if something happened, they don't have authority to act on behalf of the property, or the property might freeze, they might lose the property and they'll lose control. So there's ways that you can do it, and I do something called a ladybird deed, and not many people know about this. It's a very strong deed where you keep the house in your name, and then upon your passing, it automatically goes to your family members, but there's specific language that is used inside that's not normal language. It's not like a normal quitclaim deed. that specific language says you have full control. You want to sell it, you can sell it. Upon your passing, your family avoids probate court by putting your the names on the ladybird deed. It's a very different deed. You need somebody with experience in doing these deeds who knows how to do it right for you. It's not a regular deed. Yes, but these are very powerful as well too. So
okay, if I pass, automatic the kid.
I don't know what yes, but I don't
get their house?
Not necessarily. Yes, that too, but I don't know what exactly is on the deed, right? I don't know. Do they own it as tenants in common, joint tenants with full rights of survivorship?
It's a joint, yeah.
Okay, joint tenants.
Right.
Then whoever the remaining will get it. So your kids or your family members won't get it, and if one of them passes away, Allah la yadr la samahullah, their kids won't get it because it's jointly owned. So there's ways around it, obviously, and there's ways to fix that as well too. So I mean, like I said.
افضل طريقه لانه الكونسلتيشن فري، ما رح تخسر شيء. جيب هالديد اللي معك انت اللي عامله، خذه عند المحامي حميد دكروب، خليه يلقي نظره عليه وبيعطيك النصيحه، وانت it's up to you to go with whatever he tells you or not.
Yes, exactly. And the number is you're welcome. No problem. Anytime. And the number is 313-401-4488. 313-401-4488.
دايما الوقت بيمرق معك بسرعه حميد. وصلنا ل 10 دقائق. بنحب نذكركم بارقام التليفونات، بعد معنا تقريبا شي 5-6 minutes فينا ناخذ فيها اتصالاتكم. من ديترويت على 313-769-6666 ومن وينزر على 519-256-1023. كمان فيكم تحضرونا على الفيسبوك حصريا على صفحتنا على الفيسبوك واتساب ميديا نتورك. فيكم تتركوا سؤالاتكم ونحن بنجاوب عليهم بقدر المستطاع. حميد، موضوع الجيفتنج انه شو هو هيدا exactly؟
So Islamically, you're allowed to gift your assets as long as you are not sick. And by that, what I mean by sick is the sickness is the one that causes your death before you pass. So like if you're in a coma or you can't understand, or not in a coma obviously, but you're incapacitated, right? You can't make your own decisions, or that death is, or that sickness causes your death right away. Then it gets brought back, right? You can gift 100% of your assets to anybody you want. So for example, if you're worried about the Islamic principles, you can gift maybe more to your daughter while she's alive, but then on your passing, if you want to do a wasiyya, a will, you can state it according to whatever it is the Islamic way that the school of thought that you follow, right? That's another way. But if you do a trust, doesn't matter. You can gift assets into the trust. You can transfer assets into the trust and do whatever you want, and then they will receive whatever way that you say that you want them to receive upon your passing from a trust. Now, like I said, consult with your religious leader first, but that's the consensus from different Islamic schools of thought that you can do this with a trust, because you are gifting your assets while you're alive to this trust, or you are gifting it while you're alive to somebody else. So that way, technically speaking, you don't own the amlak upon your passing because you gave it out of your name. It's not in your name anymore.
طيب حدا مختلف هو اهله واولاده ما بده يورثهم، كيف can he do that Islamically?
Well, here's the thing. Islamically, technically speaking, you cannot disinherit. You cannot disinherit Islamically unless there's certain rules. Like, for example, somebody cannot inherit if they're maybe a non-Muslim, unless it's the part of the one-third that you include in there that you're allowed to give. If, for example, the person who inherits is a person who killed you, for example, right? There's certain rules with regards to who can and who cannot inherit Islamically.
But
now,
in general, you cannot disinherit.
Exactly. That's a general rule, right? Then there's always specific. Now, here's the thing. People say, okay, what about overseas? Well, here's the problem with overseas. The thing is if you had a will or anything like that you did, even overseas in some of the countries that follow Islamic law, what happens is you can say whatever you want in the will. I want to give everything to my neighbor John. Right? If there's a neighbor named John overseas, right? So you never know, right? So let's just say you want to do that, right? But your family members come in and say, hey, listen, this is not according to religious principles, according to what our country says. You can actually void that will and take whatever you want according to Islamic law, for example.
Okay. عندنا اتصال شيء كلي. ألو مين معنا؟
And that's overseas.
قفشتك أنا شوي مش هيك؟
No, it's okay because
أنا بحاول بنطلع على الخط.
لا, please don't worry. I didn't even. You have to tell me. Don't worry. I like to take
questions. ما بتشوفك من هون.
exactly.
على دقه بعتقد. خليني آخذ الدغري كلي إذا بدك.
لا بدي أحكي معك.
تفضل مين معنا؟ أنتوا على الابن.
بدي تحكي معي.
اعتقد بتحكوا تحت الهواء، كان يرد عليهم تحت الهواء، ما عادش تعطيني اياه. بده يحكي معنا فوق الهواء. وعلى الهواء فوق الهواء حلوة هيدي. رقم التليفون
769-6666.
Good job حميد.
So you called me out earlier, I remember.
رقم التليفون على الاستديو هو 313-769-6666 ونحب نذكركم انه نحن لايف على الفيسبوك هلا بواتساب ميديا نتورك. حميد اخر موضوع بدنا نتطرق له اليوم نقطة هي قصة الدبس and religious estate planning.
Yes.
معنا دقيقتين ثلاثة له.
Yes, exactly like what I was saying. Anytime you owe money, in Islam it also says that you have to pay your dues and your debts before anybody inherits anything. I incorporate those debts such as khums, zakat, or anything like that, prayers, hajj, everything like that, into your estate planning. So the order of how it works regarding who is going to distribute or inherit anything, essentially you have to pay your debts like the funeral and burial expenses. You have to
بيحسبوهم من الدبس.
Yes, exactly. So when the beneficiary, the child or the spouse or everything inherits, what they do is they inherit, but they inherit after these debts are paid off.
اوكي. فيك ترجم لي اياها بالعربي؟
لا انت رح ترجم لي.
يلا مبسوطين فيك اليوم نحن. شو حكيت؟
So essentially the debts are going to be taken off. So whatever you owe. Exactly. Yeah, you said it before.
معك أنا. بس عم بيقولوا اللي قالوا هلا حميد بالانجليزي هن معناتهم بالعربي انه اذا واحد لا سمح الله توفى من غير يوم انه بيحسبوا الدبس اللي بيحسبوه من ضمنه تكاليف الدفن تبعه. مزبوط يا حميد؟ وشو غير في تكاليف؟
Anything with regards to your zakat, khums,
الزكاة والخمس كمان هو بيعتبروهم إذا مش صايم لك شي نهار، إذا مقفل لك شي صلاة بيحسبوهم كمان قديش بيعتبروهم كمان دبس عليكم، يعني مثل الدين عليكم لازم توفوا بياخذوهم من المصاري. تفضلوا معنا اتصال على الهواء. مين معنا؟
ايه مرحبا كيفك؟ شو اخبارك الناس؟
ايه اكيد الحمد لله. ماشي الحال. مين معنا؟
معك نجاح.
يا اهلا وسهلا. تفضلي محامي حميد دكروب معك على الهواء.
اوكي بس بدي اسال سؤال. انا عامله ويل عند المحامي.
ايه
بس البث اللي كان عندي بعته بس اشتريت غيره.
Okay.
لازم معاود غير الوصية.
It depends what the wasiyah says. I don't know who the lawyer did it for you, but there's certain words in there. Is the gift deemed? Is it? There's a term called ademption, right? And is it deemed essentially? What that means is, are they gonna go ahead and is that gift gonna lapse and another thing is gonna replace it, or does that gift go away completely? I need to read the will in order to know what it is. Plus, if it's just a house that you're worried about, it may not be necessary for you to just do a will. We might do a certain type of deed that helps your family avoid court, because remember, if it's just for a house and your family and you have a wasiyah, your family has to go to court to inherit. There's ways around it though, okay? And obviously I have to meet you in person and
تجيب هالوصية وتجي
yes.
عنده فري كونسلتيشن حجي بس منشن يعني انه سمعتي على الفيديو جيبي له هالوصية هو بيقول لك اذا ايه ولا لا واذا لا بيظبط لك اياها.
Yes, don't worry. Okay. And the number is 313-401-4488. Thank you, Najah.
خليني اقول بعد مره رقمه للمحامي حميد دكروب هو 313-401-4488. حميد باخر حلقه شو بتحب تقول؟
والله just get everybody please just make sure that you أمن حالكم أمن لأولادكم أمن لعائلتكم. This is something that's very important that people I get this all the time and a lot of the judges in the probate court they know me as the Arabic speaking even though it's مكسر Arabic speaking but Arabic speaking yes بعد عربي you know so I get appointed on a lot of cases where it's a lot of Arabic speaking people and I see that all the time. They can avoid this. Their families can avoid this. Don't let the courts tell you who's going to make what decisions for you and your kids. You know, there's a lot of issues that happen with these topics. I mean, there's a reason why estate planning and probate is a big industry. So
أكيد. حميد ذكرهم باسمك بالعنوان وبرقم التليفون وبالآفر اللي أعطيتهم إياه.
Thank you. So Dakroub Group is the law firm name. My name is Hameed Dakroubb. My direct number is 313-401-4488. Again, 313-401-4488. And also we have the $100 promotion. If you sign up, you get a $100 discount by mentioning either Hussein, Hachem, or What's Up Media Network, and that you heard me on Sina Radio, and we'll take care of that. Free consultation, everybody.
بتحب تقول لهم شيء بالنسبة لرمضان next week? 30 seconds.
Yes, please have a happy and blessed, safe Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to shower you with continued prosperity, success, and health.
ان شاء الله يا رب. نحن كمان بنتمنى لكم رمضان كريم ينعاد عليكم ان شاء الله بالصحه والسلامه. نحن تسمعونا كل نهار اربعاء فمرح لما ببلش رمضان نهار الاثنين بنكون نحن مش عارفين بنشوفونا تسمعونا نهار الاربعاء. فنتمنى لكم رمضان كريم ان شاء الله بعم السلام على العالم جميعا. ان شاء الله المحبه بتنتشر بين العالم. بنحب نذكركم انه عندنا نحن برامج مخصصه لشهر رمضان المبارك على حصريا على واتساب ميديا نتورك. نهار الاثنين رح يكون في برنامج ديني مسمينه نحن عبق من الرحمة، رح يقدموا النشط الاجتماعي خد الفرحات، رح يكون معه الشيخ محمد مريني والشيخ محمد الحلبي. نهار الثلاثاء برنامج اسمه صحتك بصحنك من تقديم اخصائية التغذية نادي عكنان. نهار الاربعاء برنامج الراديو تبعنا من 3 ل 4. نهار الخميس مع هبة حيدر على الساعة 2 برنامج انت وبس. نهار الجمعة مع عباس مع كمان. نهار الخميس بعد الظهر الساعة 7 رح يكون في برنامج ألعاب، رح تربحوا هدية بآلاف الدولارات مقدمين من عدة شركاء هون، من بيناتهم ليمو اكسبرس مقدمت لنا ليمو رايد، وعندنا بيرثداي بارتيز بإير تايم. آلاف الدولارات الهدايا. نهار الجمعة عندنا الشو تبع عباس بخضر الحديث الجاري الساعة 6:30. ونهار السبت عندنا التيست فور 1 شو، تيست فور 1 شو مع جو هزيمي كمان. هيدا بده يفرجيكم مطاعم موجودين عندنا بالجالية. فكتير شغلات بس على واتساب ميديا نتورك رح تكون فيكم تحضروها. فأنا بنصحكم تروحوا لعنا على الفيسبوك، على انستغرام، على الويب سايت تبعنا، تعملوا لايك، تعملوا فولو، تتواصلوا معنا. رقم التليفون هو 313-258-6799 لحتى على طول يوصلكم ما هو جديد من واتساب ميديا نتورك. إلى أن نلتقي الجمعة الجاية. كان معكم حسين هاشم من وراء الميكروفون، كالي وزينة من وراء الإخراج. شكرا لكم، ينعاد عليكم وإلى اللقاء.